Today we are looking at the number one thing that holds so many people back. This is the fear of judgment. Oh my gosh, it shows up in so many aspects of our personal lives, our businesses. So we are going to be going deep with this today. I'm Serenity Iris. Welcome to my podcast and channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe if you resonate. If you are returning, thank you. It's so great to see you again. And feel free to share this with anyone who might benefit. Okay, do you ever get that feeling in your body where you're scrolling through and you're seeing people maybe they're doing way better than where you are currently at, and there's some kind of a split second judgment of, oh, well, they must have had that advantage, or they came from money, or they, whatever it is that follows, it's going to be some kind of a judgment of someone else who, maybe is doing great, and you're wanting to get there, but you're not quite there yet. And you're making all kinds of assumptions of them, and a story that you're telling yourself about them, maybe a story you're telling yourself about yourself. And so there's judgment from yourself to another, and that can be kind of harmful. And I'll tell you why. Because if you have some amount of judgment in your heart and in your field and your being, well, then when you go out and are going to take a step, risk something, put yourself out there, you will be fearing judgment of you. You'll be wondering if other people will be scrolling and thinking, oh, well, they're not so good. Or so this judgment thing, it goes both ways. And I wanted to address this right away, because when we understand this, it can be really liberating. It can be really freeing, because it's not actually the judgment of someone else that we fear. Like, if we dissolve and free ourselves from judging others, whether it's being envious or jealous of someone else who's doing way better than you, or judging someone who's maybe fallen down, and or you're criticizing them, whatever it is, any kind of judgment that's happening within you will then be translated to you feeling a fear of judgment. So this can be debilitating. I had someone come in recently, and she was transitioning from being a one-on-one practitioner working with people and their health in a natural way to wanting to transition into offering a higher end coaching program. And she was feeling really nervous about sharing this with her community and friends and colleagues, because people haven't known her in that capacity. They've only known her in the capacity of helping others with their natural health as a naturopathic doctor. And so there was a fear of judgment. And of course, like, her network is really loving. So most of it really is unfounded. Probably all of it is unfounded, but still she was dealing with this fear. So she asked, so what can I do to get over this fear of judgment? And so I asked her, well, first of all, has someone actually been judging you? And she said, well, no, I haven't even put anything out there yet. Okay, so that means you're making up some kind of a story before you even take action, before you put anything out there. Yeah, that's the case. So it is amazing how powerful these stories are that we tell ourselves about what we might face or encounter, or judgment, or opinions of others. And then we already internalize it, and we make up this big exaggerated thing inside us before it even happens, or if it will even happen at all. So I would recommend that you can acknowledge it. You can notice, oh, okay, I have this fear of judgment coming up. What can I do? So what are some things you can do? You can have someone who will help you, to call you out on this, to help you be like, hey, is that something that you're, is that based in reality or based in any kind of fact? Probably not. And is there another way that you can see this? Can you shift your perspective around this? Oh, and at the deeper level, what we just started with was, what aspect of judgment do you still carry around? Or are you judging others, right? So if you're sending that out, then it must return. So that's a huge principle there. So I shared this with her, and she understood it intellectually. So then the next step will be, is she taking steps toward her creation of her program? And if she stops and is stuck or stagnant because of fear of some other thing, or maybe continued fear of that judgment, then we've got to look at the underlying deep root causes. And that's something that we do together in our community. And this is so important because there are so many people who have these dreams and ideas of transitioning into creating higher end offers, or transitioning into scaling up their business, or doing things in a different way, a new way. And they'll contract and retrace their steps and kind of play small and be like, well, I'll just settle for this. I know, I've been doing this the same old way. I can keep doing this. When really overcoming the fears, whether they're about judgment or anything else, is the thing to move forward. So this really is one of the biggest things that I've seen in so many people, from like working with a ton of people from all over the world, where this fear of judgment really holds them back, like to a debilitating degree. And I don't want that for you. So if you're wanting some support, some insights into really how you can follow a simple roadmap, you can check out a free training that I have in the description. You can go to that. It's totally free. Check it out. It's a gift that I'm sharing because I want to support you in overcoming whatever fears that you have, because it's really over 95% of where our results come from is the mindset. So it's huge, right? This is really, really huge. And it's okay if you feel the fear. It's okay that you still have those mindsets. But the question is, what are you going to do anyway, right? So that's what that free training will walk you through. So if you're curious at all, go ahead and check out the link and just watch it right away. But back to this judgment thing. So I wanted to share a health example, and maybe you guys can relate. So this judgment thing can be applied to your business. It can be applied to health, relationships, all areas of your life. So years ago, I was in a yoga class. I was doing hot yoga, and they have like floor to ceiling, just a wall of mirrors. And I'm doing the practice in this hot, sweaty room in front of the mirror, and I'm not loving my body shape. I'm just not feeling great about it. And every time I would go to practice, I would go to class, I would have these really, really judgy thoughts of myself and my body. And one day I noticed, like, what am I doing? I'm hearing these negative ideas like, oh, you don't look good, like this isn't working, what are you doing? Just all these kinds of judgy thoughts. And one day I became aware of those thoughts. And in that awareness, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing to myself? So I think I must have just stopped. And then I eventually replaced that with, just loving, like loving. Nothing externally shifted, but I just stopped being so harsh and so critical with myself. And a bunch of months passed. I think I kind of forgot about it, but it was almost obsessive. I don't know if you can relate, but it was going through a significant season in my life. That was like, I was harsh and critical with myself, and it was not serving myself, but I somehow managed to pause that. And some days I would even appreciate, oh, well, look at, like, my arms are feeling and looking stronger. Oh, look at, I'm seeing definition in my leg muscles. And I was focusing on different areas. And then one day I noticed that my shape had changed. And I was just like, oh my God. And this is, I was going to class like every week, multiple times a week. But there was something that shifted within me so that I could actually see the transformation that happened in my body, because I silenced all that judgment, all that judgy talk, right? So I could actually see and appreciate, oh my gosh, there has been something going on. And that something wasn't just that I was sweating buckets in this very difficult hot yoga class. It was that shift that happened internally, where I started to appreciate myself. I started to recognize I'm doing this really hard thing, and I feel good. I feel like I'm taking care of myself, and I've released that judgment from my mind and my heart, my spirit, and then it reflected in my body. So why am I sharing this? Because every thought you have leaves an imprint in your being, your energy, your spirit, your body. Your body is listening. It could be your business too, right? So every one of those will leave this imprint. So what kind of an imprint are you wanting to make? Are you wanting to, you can, one of my mentors shared that you can really appreciate and love your way into greater success with your business. It is so powerful. So as you do that, as you acknowledge, okay, well, maybe I've had a string of things I've tried and they've all failed, and I'm going to get up another time. As long as I get up again another time, the string of failures is only going to lead to building up my character, building up who I am, building up my persistence and resilience. And I just have to get up one more time, right? So you are not defined by your past. You create it. You create a new identity because of that, right? So it's a really powerful mindset shift. So I made that pretty significant mindset shift in my yoga class, and it impacted my health, because those imprints will then have this, what's happening in your body, in your physiology, is that it will trigger the stress response. And when there's a cascade of stress hormones that are flooding your body and system, it's going to lead to inflammation in your body, which will lead to all kinds of processes, right? Which will lead to poor sleep, poor metabolism, poor digestion, all kinds of things, poor mood. So this is, I'm trying to bridge the gap. This is not just like some airy-fairy conceptual thing. This has a direct impact on your physical body, your mental state, your emotional state. It's so powerful. And then, of course, your business. So if you resonate with any of these ideas, feel free to share a comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe. It's so powerful. So has the fear of judgment held you back in taking your next step, in going for something that really means something to you, maybe growing your business? Has the fear of judgment held you back from playing big? Has it kept you small? Has it kept you hiding out? Has the fear of judgment, what could you imagine doing if you were to overcome that fear of judgment, if you were to rewire that programming, if you were to identify that blind spot, perhaps with a really great mentor who you love, mentorship, working with the system, having that support. Those are the 3 pillars for really shifting and rewiring that programming that's basically controlling your entire life and business. Over 95% of where your results come from. So it's so worth it to look at this and, to get to the bottom of it. And even if you have one moment where you're like, oh, I'm going to do the thing anyway, if you haven't really dug out that entire root, it will come back again and again, because that's how paradigms and mindsets work. So it's really worth knowing, understanding how to shift at that deep mindset and paradigm level. And that's what I do in my community. If you want to learn more, the first thing to do, the best thing to do probably is to check out the free trainings and then take it from there. So I'm Serenity Iris. I'm super happy that you've tuned in. We're going to be continuing on with future episodes on healing with prosperity and this series. If you haven't checked out the previous segments, go ahead and check out that playlist. And until the next episode, just really dive in deep and do the thing anyway. Face your fear, because really, people aren't judging you. If you're fearful, if you're worried about judgment, it's something within you, and the good news is you're with you 24/7, so you get to do something about it, and it's awesome. You're awesome, and yeah, you're here to do amazing things, and I'll talk to you soon.